happened was there was a murder of an old man who was connected with half the community. A lot of people named Howard in the community. The man who took the picture of Charles Cuffee the day after he was arrested, his name was Howard. There was a large family, and a popular man was Mr. Howard. He was 82, and he was murdered atrociously in front of his farmhouse where he'd scraped up a living. They lived there alone for 40 years, helped by a sister and a brother-in-law. And the town of New Bedford, which was tolerant of many things, was no longer Melville's New Bedford in 1840. It was now 1870 when the murder took place in December. And the town was up in arms. The form of the murder was a terrible tragedy. The man was shot. He was beaten with a pounder, which is a laundry instrument, it's a laundry machine at the time, and he was cut up. We're not sure whether his leg was cut off to fit him through a fence and then get him to a place where he might be buried or hidden, more than buried, or if when they got him into the burial spot he wouldn't fit into the shallow grave, and they then cut off, or someone cut off his leg and crammed it in with him. The body was reassembled later on in his farmhouse, and the young boy was brought from his class in Westport. Cuffee was brought from his class in Westport to look at it, and I am sure he wasn't accustomed quite to that happening. And the boy was taken out of class after the murder in Westport, taken to New Bedford, told he was going to be back home, and his family was told he was going to be back home. And he was stripped, he was manhandled, he was searched, and the next morning, and he had the fear of God put him, I guess, and the next morning he was taken to a studio, Howard's studio, to have his picture taken, probably with clothes that were rented or in the studio for young people to look at Sunday. Here we have a 13-year-old boy. He's part Hawaiian, part African American, part Wampanoag Indian. The Wampanoag and the African American come from the Paul Cuffee and John Cuffee family, who were from Cuttyhunk and settled in Westport eventually and became friends. And the Hawaiian was from the father, who, as I mentioned, has absconded. He's gone. And that look on the boy's face, I think, says more than all the talking that I could do. He is probably aware of what the possibilities might be, but then what does the 13-year-old boy really understand about mortality? He understands if he's threatened, he might die, and dying doesn't mean much to him. I think if all of us remember when we were young, the younger you were, the less you cared about dying or knew about dying.